All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. And we are here for our webinar about student assistance and support and the many resources they have for your students. So we're going to give a few minutes or half a minute for everybody to continue to join us. I see some people joining us here on Zoom, and I'm also monitoring Facebook. So if you cannot join us on Zoom or know of anybody who can't be on Zoom right now, we're also live on Facebook. So invite them to join us that way. Again, the dynamics are going to be that we will have our presenters today, Debbie Morgett and Ebony Whitson, talk to us about the resources available at Student Assistance and Support. And then at the end, you will have a chance to submit your questions through the Q&A section here on Zoom or through the comment section on Facebook. At the end, again, the live webinar, the recording will be on Facebook, and then it will be available on our website, uab.edu/families, under communications, under webinars 2025. And speaking of that, all of our previous webinars, in case you've missed any, are already uploaded onto our UAB families page. So you can go back and view them, review them, share them with other families, and just get ready as you transition. So as we continue to welcome families here and on Facebook, we just want you to sit back, relax, and we thank our presenters today. So I'm going to pass it on to them. Ebony and Debbie, thank you for being here, and it's all yours.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Debbie, you want to say good morning?
Oh, hello, everyone. Good morning.
So today we're here to talk to you about our office, Student Assistance and Support. And so we're going to start off with introducing our team. So our team consists of Shar Rayner, who is our director, Sinclair Castleberry, she's our program coordinator too. And typically Sinclair is the first person you'll hear from in our office. She's the person who gets all the important information to who it needs to go to. So she is like the main voice of the office. And then we have Debbie Morgett and myself. We are both assistant directors and we serve as also case managers in the Office of Student Assistance and Support. We also have a student assistance and support intern for the semester. Those interns just vary based on availability, and so we will have one that starts in September. And so what do we do in our office? We are case managers and we provide case management. But with this case management, it is non-clinical, but it's flexible and creates support for at-risk students, so students who are in distress. And distress can look like an array of different things. And we try to bridge the gap to anything that the student is experiencing that is keeping them from being academically successful. We want to close those gaps. So we help students overcome obstacles by establishing access to resources and engaging in skill building. And doing all that, we try to seek to retain that student and provide an environment that's conducive to their academic success. So how do we help these students? We identify, assist, and connect. We identify what those issues are because a lot of times when we meet with students, they come in for one presenting issue and come to find out there are, like I said, are an array of other things that we need to address. So we assist them and then we connect them to the appropriate resources. So all these different bubbles around the bigger bubble are just a small amount of things that we deal with in our office. So academic concerns, financial difficulties, those students who are facing some type of financial hardship, we do have emergency grants in our office, which Debbie will talk about a little bit later. Basic need insecurity, so that falls under students who are maybe on the brink of homelessness or students who are facing some type of food insecurity. And Debbie will also elaborate on Blazer Kitchen later on. Physical and medical concerns, so students who may have been hospitalized due to an injury, students who may experience a family member or some type of support who's been hospitalized and it's impacting their academics, faculty communication. So this is also for students who are having a hard time just communicating maybe some barriers that they're facing or just having a hard time communicating with their instructors in general. We also assist students with that. As well as emotional distress. And this can be, again, a lot of different things. Bad breakups, just learning how to navigate transitioning from home into school. So we kind of address all those things in our office. These are the typical trends that we normally see in our office. So between September and October, and in April is when we have an influx of students coming in to see Debbie and myself. And normally this is due to a lot of different things. Football season, this is due to exams and midterms, things of that nature. So we want to try to check in on our students and make sure that their environments are well, that they're getting enough sleep, that they're eating enough, and we just want to check on their well-being during these times because we normally have an influx, like I stated, of individuals coming in to see us during this time. And so we want to make sure, as the support and family of our students, that we're checking in on them and making sure that they are well. And if you have a concern during this time, it doesn't hurt to get in contact with our office or submit a report, which Debbie will talk about how to do that. Submit a report to our office, showcasing your concern about that student, and we can follow up and check in on that student for you. With that being said, we do have FERPA laws that are in place. FERPA provides for the release of normally protected student information in case of health or safety of the student or other individuals by appropriate university officials. So, if before we're able to share any information to outside sources, we have to have permission from the student. And that is basically what FERPA law is. And so in order for us to share things, unless the student may be in danger or things of that nature, we're not able to share any information. So I think it would be best advice that you speak with your student about maybe some things that you're wanting to know. In our office, typically, if a student wanted to share with a support or a parent, we're willing to do that, but the student has to be present or give that permission to us and able to release that information.
I would like to share with you some of the supportive services that we provide. For one is students who are food insecure. We have meal vouchers. Those meal vouchers are used in the commons, and a student might come to see us and say that my meal plan has ended, or I don't have any more meals on my meal plan, or I never had a meal plan and I don't have enough food to eat during the week. So I would like to have some meal vouchers. So a student will meet with us and we'll talk about the resources that are available to them and provide them those meal vouchers. We also have a student affairs emergency grant for emergencies that students might face, such as maybe a car accident and they need to repair their car, a flat tire, anything that's emergency related. They can apply. There's criteria for that. They have to be an undergrad student. They have to be full-time, and they can't have a financial hold on their account. But there is a team of us that review those applications. We apply a rubric about the need of that student is sharing. And if approved, they can get up to $500 per year. So that's a great program. Again, Blazer Kitchen. I think you have heard of Blazer Kitchen. There are two locations. One is in our office. I coordinate that. And Blazer Kitchen is available to any student. They just have to come in, show their ID, make an appointment, and they're free to shop once a week. We have perishable items, non-perishable. We have school supplies. We have personal hygiene items. We have items for infants, diapers, food, baby wipes. We also have pet food. So we have a wide variety of items that students are in need of. So we rely on donations. And so, we partner with a wide variety of organizations on campus and off campus. So not only donations, but students can volunteer with us. And we heavily rely on volunteers. And so if your student is looking for volunteer opportunity, I hope that they will consider volunteering at Blazer Kitchen. We also have a great program called the Blazer Market Route, and that is where a bus takes students to 4 grocery stores every Saturday, and that continues throughout the year and the summer as well. And so if your student doesn't have a vehicle or they want to save on gas or whatever, they can use the Blazer Market route. There is also a medical assistance grant available to students. And so if a student has some kind of medical bill and they are unable to pay that and they're looking for financial relief, that application is through Student Health. And so the Student Health reviews those applications, and if approved, that student can get some funding for that medical bill. Right now, we're in the middle of textbook awards. We're very happy to supply or provide students a small amount of money for textbooks. And so right now, that application is live right now. This year, we are USGA, which is our student government, provides those funds, and we review all those applications, and then if they're approved, they will get $120 towards their textbooks. And so right now, if your student is unaware of that application is live right now, and I encourage them to look on the USGA website for that application link. And every now and again, a student might need help with laptops. And so we have a limited amount of laptops that are available. But again, that has to be some kind of emergency situation. For example, a couple of months ago, we had some students who were affected by a fire, and all of their items were destroyed, and we were able to connect them to a laptop. So here, we'd like to show you the life of a student in distress referral. Once again, anyone can refer a student to our office if they are concerned about that student. And so we want you to understand that when you refer your student to our office, those referrals are in real time. You submit it, it comes to our office. We review them and see which case manager will receive that student to meet with. We contact that student immediately, and we are encouraging that student to come and meet with us. However, you need to know that it's not a mandated process. It's not like we're saying you have to come see us, but we highly encourage you to. Now, in cases that are really high level, we are going to be more direct and say you need to come and see us because we're very concerned about what's going on in your life, and we want you to know what the resources are available for you. And then again, at that meeting, what we do is we are going through the situation with the student, what's going on with them, what are their barriers, what's impeding their success. And then we are providing them with appropriate resources that might be on or off campus. And then what I really like to highlight is that it doesn't end there. We check in with the student as well and make sure that they are okay. Number one, are you okay? And then are they utilizing those resources? And if something has changed between the time they met with us to when we check in, we will review the situation again, and refer them to more resources. Whatever we can do, we're going to make sure that student knows what their resources are. And this is an illustration of what our student in distress referral form looks like. And you can find that on the landing page of our website, of the Student Assistance and Support website. And so here is a screenshot of the form, and you complete it. And like I said, when you submit it, it goes directly to us in real time. And that student is assigned to either Ebony or myself. And then we get in contact with the student and encourage them to come meet with us. Again, here is Blazer Kitchen. Our location is open from 8 to 4:30 p.m. in the regular year. Right now, during the summer, it's open between 9 and 2 o'clock. However, if a student really needed some items, we're not going to deny access. We're going to say, come on in. We never want any student to go hungry, and we want to make sure that students are aware of those resources in Blazer Kitchen. And again, they have to have an appointment. But once again, if it's an emergency, we bypass that appointment and we allow the student to shop. Again, we have fresh fruit food, we have canned food, we have school supplies. It's an array of items. And we're, like I said before, we rely heavily on donations. And so hopefully you'll consider that as well. Here are some links that we think might be helpful. It shows you how to submit a student in distress form referral, but it also shows you how to submit a student conduct incident report. There's the academic honor code, the student code of conduct, and then some resources like the student counseling services and student health services, the Title IX office. So we think that these are helpful links for you to know about. And this is our contact information. We're in the Hill Student Center, Suite 303. That's our phone number. You can email us, you can call us, you can text us, whatever you'd like. We want to partner with you and make sure that if you have a student that you're concerned about, that we're going to take that very seriously and we're going to outreach to your student and provide them the help that they deserve. So Ebony and I encourage you to partner with us. At this time, if there are any questions, we will be happy to address those.
Thank you, Debbie and Ebony. I think if you leave this slide on the screen, it'll be helpful for families to reference to. I also added the link to where if there's a student in distress that you would like to refer, you can use the link that or the link that to the website that Debbie was referring to. At this time, if you have any questions that you'd like to send us or submit for our presenters to answer live, go ahead and do so through the Q&A section. And again, I'm monitoring the comment section on Facebook. This is a great opportunity to ask any questions that you have, particularly about how student assistance and support is here to support your student and help your student navigate the college experience. We're also here to help you as family members. And so again, if you have any questions later on that come up and you don't know, you're not sure who to send them to, you'd always send them to families@uab.edu, and we will send those questions to the pertinent resources. Of course, if you have specific questions for Debbie or Ebony, you can email them at studentoutreach@uab.edu. I am monitoring for questions. And again, I thank those who are here on Zoom and those who are on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us and spending your either lunch or pre-lunch hour with us. You can again submit your questions at this time. While we wait for questions, Debbie and Ebony, are there any last minute recommendations, tips for success, or any strategies that you would like to share with families as they prepare themselves and their students to transition to UAB?
Ebony, I can share.
Okay.
You know, we acknowledge that this is a scary time for not only you, but your students as well. And some students are hesitant to ask for help because they don't know how people are going to react. They don't know, they're just unaware of the response they're going to receive, and it may be awkward for them. I highly, highly encourage you to talk with your student about if your student is experiencing any kind of concern or distress that they need to talk to someone about, to start with us. We want your student to succeed. We don't want any student to try to navigate on their own because some students just flounder. You know, they don't know who to talk to. They don't know where the resources are, and that's 100% what our office is all about. And so I not only do I encourage you to talk with your student about asking for help is a strength. It's not a weakness. It's a strength. But they need to know what those resources are. For example, every now and again, I will run into a student who had no knowledge of Blazer Kitchen, and they were struggling with food insecurity. And that's, to me, that's a sad situation when I hear those stories, because like I said before, we never want a student to go hungry. And so that's an example of a service, of a resource that is very helpful to students who have food insecurity. And we want them to know about those resources. So to me, resource knowledge and access, and asking for help when when they know that, you know, something is something's not going right, either in their personal life or academically. We want them to reach out to us so that we can help them. So those are my two recommendations.
I would just reiterate what Debbie mentioned, the same about knowing that you have somewhere to go. If you don't know anywhere else to go, our office is always assisting students with it, like I said, an array of different things. So you do have somewhere to go, and that's the Office of Student Assistance and Support. It's just Debbie and I, but we work very hard to make sure that every student that comes across our desk is well taken care of, because they're not just looked at as a number or a piece of paper. We really do put our time and dedication into following up with these students and making sure that they're mentally well, they're emotionally well, and that they're doing well academically. I would also say that I would encourage the families to be open to grow with the students, because it is a time of transition. So things are not always sometimes the way we would like them to look. And so that's with transitioning from home to college. That's with making new friends. That's with just new courses and trying to communicate with instructors. A lot of different things go into the new college experience. So just be willing to grow with your student, be open with your student, and just know that not only does the student have somewhere to go, but as a family member or in support, you can always call our office to ask for, I wouldn't say advice, but just for support and showing up for your student.
These are great recommendations, and both of you touched on a point that's very important, which is oftentimes students don't know about the resources, or more so, they don't even know how to start that conversation. So that's something that families, as you're transitioning and as you're preparing, that's also another conversation to have, is to touch base with your student about not just the exciting part that's coming up, but, you know, as Debbie mentioned earlier, it may also be it is a challenging time. There's going to be a big change, a big shift in what they've been used to. So talking about also what worries them, how they will address a situation. And if they don't know how, this is a great time, when things have not happened, to have a plan as to how to address something. You know, if this happens, not that it is going to happen, but just having a plan will bring down the stress level. When it happens, they'll know at least how to start the conversation, or they have something in mind that can guide that conversation. Student assistance and support is located on the 3rd floor of the Student Health Center. So if a student needs to come in, they don't really know how to start the conversation, what would you say? Do they just walk in and say, I need to talk to somebody? Or how would you recommend students begin that conversation?
I would say sometimes you don't need an intro. If they are in a moment where they're in distress and they want to come into our office, there's nothing wrong with coming in and just saying, I need help. Simply, I need help. And then we can always step into our office and have that private conversation and dig a little bit deeper to find out what the source of those issues are. Like Debbie mentioned during the slides and the presentation, we do have a student in distress referral form. So if you don't feel comfortable walking into the office, you can fill out that form and you can put as much or as little detail. And like we stated, the form does not have to be submitted just for a friend that you're concerned about. It could be for self. So if you know that, hey, I'm not doing well, or I've been sleeping too much lately, or I'm just confused about where to go for class. It could be anything. You submit that report, and somebody's going to get to you in a timely manner to make sure that you get the assistance that you need. So I know it can be hard to start those types of conversations, but just any platform would work. And we're always a welcoming face, I believe. We try to be.
Absolutely. I just want to mention that if your student is more than likely they are living on campus. If a student is going through a situation and they really don't know who to talk with first, I would encourage them to talk to their RA first. And then if they're not comfortable with talking with their RA, there's always a residence life manager or coordinator, RLC, who manages that residence hall to talk with them. And then more than likely, the housing staff will refer that student to us. So housing and our office work very closely together. And we work closely with a lot of offices on campus, but really housing, we're in constant communication because there's so many students living on campus. Again, a student can start with their RA if they'd like, and or their RLC, or like Ebony has said, just get on our website, our landing page there, and look for student in distress form, and they can fill that out on themselves, and then we will be in contact with them within 24 hours or less.
Or less, yes.
And a good question that has come up is if as a parent or as a family member, the student has opened up about something that's concerning or a situation or something the student is worried about, but the student really doesn't want to bring it up, can family members or parents either call your office or contact somebody to get assistance? How would that look?
I would say yes. I say submit a student distress referral form, even if you feel like the student does not want the conversation to be brought up, because we never want a situation where I wouldn't say withholding information, but we're trying to maybe spare the feelings of our student because we just never know what they're facing. So like Debbie mentioned in the presentation, it's not mandatory that they meet with us. So we're just here as a supportive measure with a lot of different resources. So when that report is submitted, the protocol is that we outreach once or twice, and then we outreach a third and final time. But the final time, we do send over resources when we send that final communication to the student. So they're going to have access to resources, whether we speak to them physically or we don't. They will always have access to resources from our office. So I still would encourage that the parents submit that form just so we can be another measure for the student. So if it's something that is very concerning, we can put eyes on the student even. Like Debbie mentioned, we have a very close connection with housing. So if we needed to make sure that the student was well and put eyes on the student, we can make that happen as well. So I would say still submit that form if there is a red flag or you're concerned about your student.
Absolutely. Remember, we're all about the student's safety and well-being. And we never want a student to feel alone and that there's no one to talk to and they're just going to suffer in silence. Now, we've been working with students a very long time. We acknowledge that some students, like we've said before, are hesitant to reach out for help, perhaps. And I think it's all because maybe they're uncertain of how we're going to respond. And so, but once they meet with us and understand that we're here to help them, I think that anxiety gets minimized.
And I want to add, I'm sorry, one more thing. I know a lot of times some people are reserved about submitting forms because they think the initial conversation is, hey, so and so submitted a form about you. We want to know what's going on. The conversation is never steered that way. We start the conversation off, we have a report of concern, and we wanted to just talk to you about a few things and talk through what you have going on. So we don't ever start the conversation off with, oh, your parents submitted a form. We want to know why you said X, Y, and Z. So if that eases the parent's spirit about submitting a form, then
I think you've all made great points, and I think it's been stressed throughout orientation. So for families who've been through new student orientation, or even families who are joining us who have been at UAB now for a couple of years or are already transitioning through their sophomore year, if you ever have a question, and I guess by now you know UAB cares about you and your students. So as a family member, if you have a question, if there's anything I know as parents and as family members, we worry about our students and we want everything to go smoothly. So if you ever have a question as a family member and you would like to reach out to somebody as to how to support your student, there's always family engagement who can connect you to who you need to. And there's always definitely a student assistant support to at least help start that conversation or check on your student. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to our offices if you need support to support your student, because ultimately we're all here to make sure that your student is successful, their well-being is at the highest level, and that they're making the best choices. So I am not seeing any questions, but again, if you have questions that come up later, please submit them to families@uab.edu, and we will channel those questions to the appropriate resources. If you have missed any of our previous webinars, please go back to our website, uab.edu/families, and you can view those previous webinars on our website or on Facebook if you have missed those or if you want to share them with other family members who may have missed them. So at this time, I am not seeing any questions, but I really want to thank our presenters today and also people who have joined us on Facebook and on Zoom. And again, we invite you next week to our next webinar. You will be getting information. I'm going to keep that information right now, but you will be able to join us next week for other webinars, and we will have them all the way until August. So there's lots of webinars. Make sure that you stay on top of the Family Hub. We will be sending a lot of information and connections and resources in the next couple of weeks and days. So thank you, Debbie and Ebony, for being with us today. And thank you, family members. And we wish everybody a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.